Welcome to the land of Kaltorlin. The Warlock Lord, once banished to his prison, has broken free, slain all but one of the Circle of 12 wizards, and plans to release the power of the behemoth on the land, plunging it into darkness forever. You are a group of adventurers that venture into Castle Shadowgate to confront the Warlock Lord and thwart his plans. And though you are working together to bring down the Warlock Lord, solving puzzles, defeating monsters, and completing quests will reward you with XP points, and whoever has the most XP points at the end of the game will be crowned High Lord of the Westland. Setting the game up is as easy as putting all the shuffled card stacks and tokens on their respective spots on the board. Set 2 black dice aside on opposite sides of the table for easy reach. Put the torch token on the number 10 of the torch track, and a lock token on the second and third quest stacks. Each player chooses a character to play and takes the player mat and character token for that character and puts it in front of them. There are 4 player mats, but each side has another character, totaling 8 different characters to play. The characters with the yellow star next to their name usually have a more balanced base trait set. The ones without generally have a more proficient trait. We usually ask new players to choose one with the yellow star, just to start out. Set aside the Cavern Stairwell event from the first quest stack. Shuffle the stack and play the top 4 cards on the active quest spots. Then shuffle the Cavern Stairwell event with the rest of the Quest 1 cards and place them on their space. The game is effectively set up for starting the game. Now let's talk about you, the player. First, the 3 icons on the left side are your character's base traits. The shield is a symbol for strength. The X pattern icon is for the character's resourcefulness, and the sun icon is for the character's mental trait. These will be considered when attempting to complete quests. The next thing to point out is the character's standard ability. This is either something that happens at the start of the game, or is something that can be triggered in some way. For instance, Catalia Mar starts the game with 2 elemental tokens of your choice, while a character like Willamir can at any time use an elemental token as any type, like a wildcard when spending them to complete quests. Each character has a unique ability that aligns with their character's class. At this point, I would ask all players to roll 2 black dice. Each die will result in a 1, a 2, or a skull, which is considered a 0. Whoever rolls the highest gets to go first. If there's a tie for the highest, those players re-roll until one player comes out on top. Then, starting with the first player and going clockwise from there, each player will draw 2 item cards from the item card stack. Everyone will place them face up in their inventory. Some people have found it easier to align their inventory cards at the bottom of their playmat, just to make it easier to see all of them. I'd like to have you pay attention to the item cards that you just drew. These cards can boost your traits, help you pay for a quest cost, or affect gameplay in some form or fashion. If the card has a shield in the top left of the ability box, these items need to be equipped for them to grant you their ability. However, if the item card has no shield and has a treasure chest icon in the upper left, this is a general item and cannot be equipped. These you'll place straight from your inventory. For those that are colorblind, there are a few indicators to help you distinguish them. First, and probably the easiest way, is the item type is specified at the top of the item card. It will be relic, weapon, magic, or general. The second is the shield symbol next to the ability box, matches the symbol on the player mat, as the relic has a square in the middle of the shield. A weapon has a triangle, and magic has a circle. Lastly, the icon in the upper left can help differentiate the item's type. Relics have a diamond, a goblet, or a staff, signaling a royal, artifact, or staff relic. The weapon items have a suit of armor, crossed swords, or a flurry of arrows to signal an armor, melee, or ranged weapon. And the magic items are either fire, ice, or wind, with those icons signaling those types. Each item type also has a wild card for that particular type. The symbol for a wild card is an 8-pointed star. If you get one of these cards, it's considered every type for that category of item, except a staff item, and can be spent as such. These are fairly powerful items worth a lot of XP and have powerful abilities. Use them carefully. During your turn, you will equip items by placing them in the spot above your player mat in the respective spots. Each character can differ in what they can be equipped with at any given time, but if you can fill all 4 equipped item spots, you unlock a unique ability your character can perform once per game. You'll do this by flipping the token over so it shows the shield icon with the star in the middle. Once the token is flipped over, you gain the fully equipped ability and cannot lose it, even if you become unequipped again. Again, it can be used once per game, and each character has a different ability, so get to know the characters a bit and see what they can do to better strategize subsequent plays. Shadowgate the Living Castle is a progressive game, meaning you can't walk in the front door and head straight for the Warlock Lord. Where's the fun in that? No, you'll have to progress through Castle Shadowgate first by traversing its caverns in the Quest 1 cards, and when the adventurers come to the cavern stairwell, you get to unlock the next quest stack, the Quest 2 Keep cards. When you get to the Banquet Hall, you'll then unlock the third quest stack, the Towers and the Mines, and when you get to the Great Barrier, the final quest will begin. Note, the quests do get more difficult, but can be more rewarding as you progress through the castle. But wait, we can't just take on the Warlock Lord or Behemoth with our bare hands. No. Anyone familiar with the game Shadowgate knows that there is a powerful weapon known as the Staff of Ages that can defeat the Warlock Lord, but it was broken down into 3 parts, and as you can see, there are 3 staff item cards. One piece resides in the caverns, one resides in the keep, and one resides somewhere in the towers and mines. So you're not just speedrunning to the final battle, you'll need to have all 3 pieces amongst all the players before the final quest can begin. If you come to the Great Barrier without all 3 in your party's possession, it will go to the bottom of the Quest 3 stack and the hunt will continue. Staff items are considered relic items, so they can be equipped in the relic spot of your player map. But if you get more than one of the staff items in your possession, you can stack them in the same spot for a cumulative bonus. Each one gives you a +1 to one of your traits, depending on which one you get, so this can be helpful to have more than one. Plus, the staff items are worth 25 XP points apiece that get added to your XP total at the end of the game. In short, get a staff item if you can. There are 4 types of quest cards. The black or gray bordered quest cards are standard quests. Completing these quests tend to give you item cards and elemental tokens to boost your character's base traits. The green bordered quest cards are the monster quests. Completing these will give a player a puzzle item, and possibly items or elemental tokens as well. The puzzle items are used for our next quest type. The puzzle quests are the purple bordered quests and can only be completed if you have the puzzle item that can solve it. Solving puzzle quests are some of the most lucrative ways to gain XP. When you solve them, you put the puzzle item and the puzzle quest into your completed quest stack for an additional 20 XP points. That's a lot. We make it easy for new players to find their puzzle quests by looking at their puzzle item. In the area above the XP point marker, there is a 1, a 2, or a 3, signaling which quest stack that puzzle quest resides in. This keeps new and experienced players on the same level. Oh, and if you get a puzzle item, don't show people what you have. You can look for yourself, but showing others which puzzle item you have can work against you, as you'll soon find out. The last quest card type is an event. Events are not actually quests, but something that happen immediately or for a duration. Just follow the text on the event, and it should walk you through whatever is going on. Djinn riddles. Well, when a quest stack gets unlocked, the Djinn being held captive inside of Castle Shadowgate proposes a riddle to all the players. Flip one of these cards over, and you'll see the riddle and the answer to that riddle. Whatever the answer is, during any player's action or resolve phase, if you have the card that answers that riddle, you can discard that card to the discard pile and then take that riddle. Not only will it give you an additional 10 XP points, but it will also give you quite a boost in the game. The reward for answering the riddle is on the bottom of the card. You might get a bunch of items, elemental tokens, maybe bump the torch back to 10, or get a redo on a roll. These are just a few of the possible rewards. Enough about game elements, let's talk about a player's turn. For reference, we have included 2 sets of quick reference cards that can walk you through the player's turn. Each turn has 5 phases, so let's start from the top. Phase 1, the equip phase. In this phase, you can equip or unequip any number of item cards to and from your inventory. This is the only phase when you can equip cards. Phase 2, the action phase. In the action phase, you can play abilities on cards in your inventory, perform character abilities, answer a Djinn riddle, or trade one item card from your equipped items or inventory. You can do this once per turn. Phase 3, the quest phase. There are 3 options before you in the quest phase. The first is you can complete a quest. The second thing you can choose to do during your quest phase is cycling a quest card. If for whatever reason you don't like the options you have in the active quests, you can take one of those quest cards and put it on the bottom of its respective quest stack and draw a new quest from any unlocked quest stack to replace it. You can do this once and still complete a quest. You can do it a second time, but if you do, you forfeit the ability to complete a quest. By the way, this is why you don't want people to know which puzzle items you have. If they knew, they'd probably just keep cycling your quest out, making it much more difficult to get them. Phase 4, the resolve phase. The resolve phase works just like the action phase. You can play abilities on cards, perform character abilities, answer a Digitation riddle, or trade one card from your equipped items or inventory. Phase 5, the end phase. During the end phase, you'll replace any missing quests from open quest spots. You can choose a quest from any unlocked quest stack. Once you get through 1 or 2 turns, you'll pick up on how the turns play out, and you'll be cruising right through them. Let's talk about a few more lingering elements before we get to how the final quest plays out. When looking at the quest cards, the cost of completing that quest is on the bottom left section of the card. You will see a trait number, a magic icon, and or some other set of instructions. If your character already meets or exceeds the trait cost in that box, you can just take it for its experience points and rewards, which is located on the bottom right box of the card. Place it in your completed quest spot on your player mat, and it will add to your final XP points. If, however, you do not automatically meet the trait cost, you can still attempt the quest by first putting your character token on that quest card, signaling to the other players you are attempting to complete that quest. And then you get to roll 2 black dice. Whatever result you roll, you can allocate those points in any way you want amongst your base traits. So if you roll a 4, you can divvy those points however you like amongst your base traits. Some quests may require multiple base trait costs or even items. If a quest cost requires a trait roll and an item, should you fail, you do not lose that item. If you fail the quest, there is a symbol in the middle of the bottom box that has a torch or a skull. If it has a skull, you gain a death card to put on your player mat. What is a death card? Shadowgate is known for its many and creative deaths. In the game, death does not stop you from continuing in the video game, nor does it here. It merely gives you a -5 to your total XP points at the end of the game. So you may find yourself getting a few of these cards, but fear not, you won't be eliminated. If the symbol in the bottom box is a torch, the torch moves down 1. At the end of each round, the last player moves the torch down 1 at the end of their turn regardless, but failing these types of quests moves it down faster. If the torch counter gets to a red number, one of the players will roll a red die, and whatever trait comes up, take a +1 token of that type and flip it to the back side where there is a -1 of that trait, and put it on the red space under the torch track. Until the torch moves down or out of the red numbers entirely, all players lose -1 to that base trait. If it progresses to another red number, a player will roll the red die again, and the token will swap out to a -1 of that trait instead. They do not stack. If the torch manages to reach the skull, it has gone out, and all the players receive a death card, and the token moves to the orange 5 on the torch track. Fear not, there are torch item cards that can keep the torch alive, so use them to your advantage. Quest bonus. So, how do you become the High Lord of the Westland again? That's right, you have to have the most XP points at the end of the game. Well, we've built into the game a way to get bonus XP when completing a standard quest. You'll notice on the black bordered quest cards, there is a symbol just below the XP marker. If you have an item that shares that symbol in either your equipped items or inventory, you can, at the time of completing the quest, put a card of that type into your completed quest spot with the quest for its additional XP value. The final quest. So, now that the staff items are allocated amongst your group, and the Great Barrier is revealed, each player gets 1 full turn before the final quest starts. You can equip any items you need to, complete any remaining quests in play, or do what you can to get those XP points up before continuing. Note, at this point, no quest can be replaced or cycled. Now, onto the final quest. Flip over the top final quest card and move the torch counter to the number 50 on the track on the outside of the game board. This represents the final quest boss that has 50 hit points. Each turn will play out exactly the same, except the quest phase is now the attack phase. To attack the boss, you'll choose any trait of your choice to attack with, and then you'll roll 2 black dice. Whatever number you roll, you'll add to your chosen trait score, and this becomes your attack score. Subtract your attack score from the current final quest life total, and whichever player can get the torch counter to 0 gains the final quest card for additional 50 XP points. If you have a staff item equipped, you can add the additional blue die as a bonus die to deal up to an additional +2 in your attack score. The staff icon on the blue dice is considered a 0. If during your attack you roll 2 skulls, you deal no damage and you take a death card. However, the Warlock Lord didn't come unprepared, nor is the final quest boss going to stand idly by and just take the abuse. When the final quest starts, you'll also flip over an energy card. The energy card will slow the players down in their attacks. Follow whatever rules are on the text of the energy card. Some energy cards allow you to discard magic items and tokens, equipped or in the inventory, to add +1 to your attack score. Once an attacking player gets the torch counter over one of the red numbers or past it, that player gains the energy card and puts it into their completed quest stack for an additional 20 XP points. A new energy card is immediately played, and then the boss makes an attack against all the players. The final quest boss attack. Depending on the final quest boss, the attack is going to look different, but it is explained on the card itself, the attack, and how each player will get a chance to defend. Against the Reaper, each player will roll 2 black dice. If the player rolls anything other than 2 skulls, they defend against the attack. But if any player does roll 2 skulls, they take 2 death cards and cannot prevent it. With the Warlock Lord, a player will roll 2 dice for the Warlock Lord and add the number to his mental score of 4. We suggest using the red die to place on the final quest life track to keep track of what the Warlock Lord's attack score is. Each player may defend with any trait of their choosing by rolling 2 black dice and adding it to that score. Again, any player with a staff item can add the blue die to the defense roll. If they can meet or exceed the score rolled by the Warlock Lord, they defend against the attack. If the number does not reach the Warlock Lord's attack score, that player fails in defending and takes a death card. The Behemoth not only makes an attack, but dictates which trait the player must defend with. The Behemoth attacks by rolling all 4 black dice and the red die. Whatever is rolled on the black dice, the players must defend with whatever trait is shown on the red die. Oh, and the Behemoth gets to re-roll any skulls rolled once. Again, players with a staff item equipped can add the blue dice to their roll in defense. Failure to defend will result in gaining a death card. The end of the game. Once the player that defeats the final quest boss and takes their card, the end of the game happens. Now it's time to find out who got the most XP points. To tally up the XP points, take all of your equipped items and put them into your completed quest stack. Add up everything in the completed quest stack and subtract the value of accumulated death cards, and whoever has the most XP points is now the High Lord of the Westland. We hope you'll try out all the different characters in several playthroughs of the game, learn new strategies, and take on different final quest bosses. The game plays different every time you play, and you'll never know how it will turn out. Thanks for taking the time to learn how to play, and thanks again for making Shadowgate the Living Castle a reality.